it's Lesley Langdon with Unity Stamp Company and UnityTV. This is the first of many video tutorials that we're going to have for you based on using our lovely Unity stamps and going through a whole bunch of different techniques and projects that take your stamps beyond the paper, beyond ink, and get you to explore different ways of using your stamps. So I hope that you will join us every week as we prepare wonderful tutorials for you. The first one that you're going to watch today is using an itty bitty stamp. I'll show you, if you've never seen an itty bitty stamp, they come in these packages which are really cute. This one's called Bouncy Blue, and we'll be doing that today. We'll be making a tag, and I have it right here to show you. Okay, so stay with me and let's begin. Right, so first things first, when we make our tag, we'll want to run it through an embossing folder. So run it through your die cut machine. This is a circle pattern that you can see. It's from Cuttlebug. Okay, so put that aside. Then I want to spray it. This is a Shimmer's Vibes. It's called Jenny Bee Bleu, and I want to lightly spray it. I think I'll stop there. I don't want to overdo this in blue. I just want it to be a nice light color. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and it won't take long. I'm going to cover that spray there. So normally I would clean it, but since this is a tutorial, I want to be quick. So what I've done is I've die cut. This is a Spellbinders label die. You can use a rectangle shape if you don't have a die cut system, or you can use an oval die if that's what you have. Right, so I'm going to stamp the Bouncy Blue Pram with this product. It's called Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Okay, so I'm going to try and, stamp it in the middle. Now these are Unity stamps, so they're made of high quality red rubber. Give a good impression every time. That is a nice crisp image. Okay, and it's cling mount, so it sticks to an acrylic block. Okay, and at the same time I'm going to take my Bouncy Blue sentiment and I'm going to stamp it onto a strip of white paper, which we'll use later. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I'm done stamping. You can set your stamps aside. The next thing we'll do is color our image. So I'm going to be using this Copic marker. It's BG15 Aqua. I'm going to be using the fine tip. And the reason I chose the black ink is because it actually works really well with Copic markers. I'm going to color this way so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to go around the edges a bit darker than I am the inside because I want the inside to be more of a lighter blue. Okay, so this Copic marker has a nice fine tip that allows you to get in these smaller places. So what I'm doing now is I'm going over the black lines. That's going to give some shading. I'm going around the edges here. This the Copic markers allow you just to layer colors. So even though this is the same marker, I've got some nice variation already just using one color. So now with the colorless blender, I'm going to just do a nice circular motion in the middle. And what this is doing is it's pushing the color out of the way. It's pushing the color towards the sides. I'm going to do the same on the top of the buggy here, just in the middle of those black lines. Okay? So that's it for coloring. So you can see the variation just by using one Copic marker color and the one colorless blender, and you already have quite a bit of variation in the coloring. Okay, next thing I want to show you is this distress ink. It's called Antique Linen by Ranger. It's one of Tim Holt's lines, and I love it because it just softens up the images. So I'm going to take Cut and Dry Foam, also by Ranger, and I'm going to go around the edges of the label that we've cut. Okay, this will just soften the image, distress it just a little bit so it's warmer. Okay, so at the same time, what you want to do is, for your Bouncy Blue, you want to cut it so it looks like a banner. So just like this, And perhaps I'm going to trim it at the top a little bit. Hand cut it, that's fine. And I'm going to ink around the edges as well so that it's consistent with what our image looks like. Because if it was just stark white paper, it would kind of stand out. Okay, so we can put our distress ink away. We're done with that. Our tag is dry now, so we can look to putting everything together. Okay, so I picked up this trim at my fabric store. Really inexpensive to do it that way. If you have a fabric store close by, go check out what they have in their trim and lace department. Okay, I'm going to staple it because staples will hold anything in place, and we're going to cover up those staples anyway, so you won't see them. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly trim here, maybe a bit closer to the edge. I want it hanging over just a little bit. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to adhere the pram with, this is called You Cut It foam, so you can cut any size and shape you want of this foam. It's made by Glue Arts. I'm going to stick it to the back of the stamp. You can see the Copic marker has come through. That means you saturated the image quite well, and it's optimal for blending if your paper is saturated. Okay, so I'm going to stick that on off center. You'll just make your tag that much bigger because you're using space to the right of it. Okay, and then with an adhesive square here, this is also by Glue Arts, I'm going to stick on the sentiment. Okay, then comes the seam binding. Now you can make your own seam binding by buying the white seam binding and then spraying it with the mists and inks that you have. This one I happened to buy off of Etsy from a store named Scrap and Cress. I just love the colors of this one. It matches what I'm going for here. So you want to put that on. I might direct where my ribbon is going by putting an adhesive square on it and then actually sticking it in place. Sometimes I like to do that because I don't necessarily like the way that the ribbon is falling, but that looks nice. And then we have a button. I think if you're ever going to put a button on something, just take the extra 10 seconds and probably more like 20 seconds and thread it. I'm guilty of not doing that all the time, but I think it makes a difference. Okay, and you stick your button on there. And last thing we do is add our string, and then we're done. So you can mass produce these tags. If you're sitting down one afternoon, and you're making 20 for a baby shower, just do the one step at a time. So first, do all your tags, emboss them all. Second, spray them all. Third, cut all your labels, just whatever you can do to save time. So here's 3 that I've already done. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I hope you give it a try. See you around.